What villain can you just not hate? Gargamel. Let's be honest, some of those Smurfs were annoying. They were smuffing annoying. I wonder how many times in Robot Chicken the phrase "go smuff yourself" has been said. Smuff you, you smuffing smuffer. Magneto. Yes, he hates humanity for treating the mutants like the Nazis treated the Jews. So Professor X is a Nazi apologist? Nope. Professor X basically said that if you don't like the Nazis, then maybe don't become them. It becomes something that is practically black and white morality versus blue and orange morality. Professor X does not have the frame of reference to even understand where Magneto is coming from. To Magneto, all his hatred makes perfect rational sense. To Professor X, all that hatred can never make sense because he is so fortunate that he was never experienced what makes Magneto think and react the way he does. Hades in the animated Hercules movie. Huge POS, but fuck if he wasn't entertaining. Just Hades in general. He's often painted as a villain, but wouldn't you be pissed if your brothers banned you from their house and made you sit around surrounded by dead people all day? He can't have been that bad a guy. He named his pet dog Spot, for crying out loud. In mythology, he's the least harmful of the brothers, doesn't force himself onto girls, commit genocide out of pride, and is pretty reasonable and helpful to heroes. Maybe revisit the story of Persephone. It was why the Greeks said we had seasons, after all. Squidward. Say what you want, SpongeBob is pretty annoying. So annoying. The older I get, the more I relate to him versus SpongeBob. It mimics life. SpongeBob is a child, lol. I relate to Patrick. It concerns me. Oh boy, 3 a.m. Tom from Tom and Jerry. I've always rooted for him. If anything, Jerry was the villain. Right? That was Tom's house. He was just doing his job, trying to protect his home from an unwanted intruder. Tom spent a good amount of those cartoons being absolutely terrorized and bullied by that mouse. It was definitely a 50-50 situation as far as I can tell, no true heroes, no true villains. And don't forget his owners abusing him when he didn't get the job done. That one woman would have been arrested for animal abuse. Dr. Otto Octavius from Spider-Man 2. Most Spider-Man villains except Green Goblin. The Sandman had me conflicted and had me question what is good and bad when I was a kid. He was robbing a bank to support his daughter's treatment, really made an impression on me. The Sandman is an anti-hero when we think about it because yes, he robs banks, but he is also trying to save his daughter. Honestly, the real villain is the American medical system. Although other countries like Canada have a bad reputation for treating chronic diseases like Sandman's daughter had. Loki. I too am burdened with glorious purpose. His show is awesome. Can't wait for the next season. I don't think Loki is evil except maybe in the Avengers. He is our mischievous wayward boy, but at the end of the day, he would help the right side, in his own way. OFC. Loki is a massive dick in the original mythology. He kills Balder out of spite and is pretty much single-handedly responsible for Ragnarok. Well, he's complex in Norse mythology. At some times he's helpful towards the other gods and helps them, and at other times he's the opposite. Hank Scorpio. Haha, nobody ever says Italy. On your way out, if you want to kill somebody, it would help me a lot. The way Homer kicks the grenade as he sadly walks away gets me every time. I think that scene works so well because as always Homer is blissfully unaware of the dangers that surround him even when in the middle of a pitched battle he is still Homer and therefore unconcerned. The Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik was justified. It's only become more and more apparent over the years that Hulk Hogan was the true villain. Oh yeah, F. Hogan. Screwed over the wrestlers by ratting them out to Vince when they were pushing to unionize. And is a racist. A fellow Bastards listener. Harley Quinn, poor girl, had her psyche destroyed. Have to agree there, and isn't she like an anti-hero nowadays? It's been a while since I saw it, but I believe so. IRC in the animated series she stops murdering people and doing bad things in general because Poison Ivy doesn't approve and Harley wants to tap that ass. Which doesn't make sense at all since Ivy is an eco-terrorist by design. I mean, there is a spectrum. Eco-terrorism is at least more morally justifiable than something like Zash or Joker's MO. Ivy does terrible or brutal things for good reasons. Hades from Disney's Hercules. I even like him more than the main character. I was rooting for him to win, lol. So many Disney villains are more interesting than the heroes. Cruella de Vil is a magnificent creation. I miss those Disney villains who would often steal the show. Nowadays they barely stand out. Elsa would have been one for the books. Ozymandias, sure, he committed mass murder in the name of the greater good, which is a tired trope already, but in that universe the world was on the brink of nuclear war and he chose to kill a few million in order to stop the threat of complete extinction of the life on Earth. Why did Rorschach had to be such an idiot? He wasn't. He just had his own way. Alan Moore was a good writer because for better or worse, Rorschach didn't just fall in line and say, okay, I guess I have to agree. Rorschach didn't compromise, and he stuck by it. That's good writing. Yeah, it's kind of grating to see someone just being okay with horrible atrocities which are done to be later justified. If the ends justify the means, you can justify any and all means. It's a slippery moral slope and it's morally incompatible with anyone who considers themselves remotely concerned in such things. Negan from The Walking Dead, he's just so funny and has a great redemption arc. Scrolled too long for this one. I'm less of a fan of his redemption arc, but he was just such a cool villain for so long that I looked forward to his scenes. His later aired backstory is also somewhat redeeming and gives a phenomenal insight into the character. His introduction episodes, despite the stupid cliffhanger, are probably some of the best TV you'll ever see, and the build-up to his arrival was insanely well done. Please like and subscribe for more daily content.